Welcome back to Motivation Library. We're all about getting that knowledge right. And today, we've got a book that might just be the key to unlocking your academic potential. We're diving deep into Study Skills for Dummies by Doreen du Boulay.
For dummies. Some people might hear that and think, oh, this is too basic for me. But trust me, this book, it's not about dumbing things down at all. It's more like taking these super effective study strategies and making them easy for anyone to understand, whether you're already killing it in school or just starting out.
Yeah, it's like a cheat sheet for success in school.
Exactly.
And Doreen du Boulay, she's a real expert in this stuff. She's worked as a learning advisor, and she's packed this book with practical advice that you can actually use.
And okay, so full disclosure, the book does have a bit of a UK vibe. We might stumble across a brilliant or two. And remember loose, we learned that one last time. Those are restrooms.
Toilets.
But even with those little UK-isms, the core ideas about how to study smarter, they totally apply no matter where you are in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Because we all want to learn better around. That's why we're here at Motivation Library. To dig out those golden nuggets of wisdom from books like this.
Those aha moments that can totally change how you study, make it more effective.
And maybe even a little less stressful.
You got it.
So we're going to cover everything from figuring out how to navigate that sometimes confusing world of university life to becoming a master of academic writing and, of course, conquering those exams. We might even uncover some hidden gems along the way, like why physical libraries are still super important even in our digital world.
Yeah, that one surprised me.
Me too. Get ready to upgrade your study game because we're diving deep into Study Skills for Dummies.
Let's start with something really basic but super important. How do you find your way around in the academic world? It's not just about finding your classroom. It's about understanding the whole university ecosystem.
Yeah, du Boulay really stresses the importance of actually exploring your campus, like physically walking around and finding your teaching rooms, your department, the library, obviously. But she also points out the essential spots like cafes for that much-needed caffeine fix.
Oh, yeah.
And where the restrooms are. It might sound obvious, but knowing your way around can save you so much time and stress, especially when you're rushing between classes.
Those 10-minute breaks can feel really short if you're lost.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just about the buildings. You need to understand the people who make the university tick.
Yeah, du Boulay highlights all the different roles you'll come across. You'll have subject tutors for your specific courses, probably a personal tutor for more general academic support and advice. Knowing who to talk to for what is key to getting the help you need when you need it.
And don't forget about the administrative staff, the secretaries. The book really emphasizes how important they are. They're like the information hub. They can help you with your timetable, sort out any administrative issues. They can save you a lot of hassle. And you won't have to bother your tutor, who's probably super busy. They're like the unsung heroes of the university.
They really are. And knowing their office hours can save you a wasted trip.
Totally. And don't forget about student support services. Universities have dedicated departments for all sorts of things. Welfare, disability support, financial advice. If you're facing any kind of challenge, remember these resources are there to help you.
Exactly. It's all about knowing where to go for help. Du Boulay also points out that each department often has its own unwritten rules, its own culture and etiquette.
Oh, yeah, like unspoken rules.
Yeah. Being aware of these and knowing how to handle problems within that specific environment can make a big difference in your experience.
So basically, be proactive and don't be afraid to ask for help if you're struggling with something. Whether it's an assignment or a personal issue, reach out to someone. Don't suffer in silence.
Absolutely, you're not alone. Okay, let's move on to an area that can be really stressful for students: time management and organization. This is where du Boulay offers some really practical strategies.
Yeah, we could all use some help with that, right?
For sure. One of the most fundamental things she recommends is creating a weekly timetable. But it's not just about blocking out your classes and social events. It's about actually scheduling dedicated study time.
So like treating study time as important as your actual classes.
Exactly. Like allocating your most focused energy to the toughest subjects. Doing the hard stuff when you're fresh.
Makes sense.
She also suggests trying to work consistently throughout the week so you can actually enjoy your weekends.
Yeah, instead of having that Sunday night panic.
Exactly. It's about creating a balance.
Okay, so what happens when the workload piles up? Because let's face it always does.
When that happens, prioritization is key. Du Boulay's advice is to be really clear about your course requirements and what assignments are coming up, what's going to have the biggest impact on your final grade, what deadlines are looming. Knowing this helps you decide where to focus your time and energy.
So it's all about being strategic.
Exactly. And then there's something she calls a learning diary. Now, this isn't just a boring log of what you did each day. It's more like a tool for self-reflection.
So what do you write in it?
Or she suggests recording specific tasks that you need to submit, detailed notes from your lectures, and get this, even your feelings about a particular subject.
Feelings. That's interesting. What's the point of that?
Well, think about it. If you find yourself dreading a certain module or type of assignment that tells you something, maybe you need to approach it differently, get some extra help, or just acknowledge that it's a challenge you need to face head on. The learning diary also helps you track how long things actually take you compared to how long you thought they would take.
So it's about becoming more aware of your study habits.
Exactly. Like a personal data tracker for your academic journey.
I like that. A personal data tracker.
Right. And for those of you juggling studies with a job, she has a practical tip. Try to consolidate your work hours on the weekends if possible, instead of trying to squeeze both in during the week. And even with a busy schedule, aim for at least one completely free day each week, for flexibility and those unexpected life things that always seem to pop up.
Good advice. Okay, let's talk about active learning. This is a big one that du Boulay emphasizes throughout the book.
Yeah, it's not just about passively absorbing information like a sponge. It's about actively engaging with the material and making it your own.
So what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it means constantly asking questions, both of yourself and the material.
Yeah.
It's about using your critical thinking skills to turn facts into real understanding. You're not just a spectator. You're an active participant in your education.
I like that, an active participant.
Right.
So how do we become more active learners?
Well, du Boulay talks about the importance of preparing for lectures and tutorials before you even set foot in the classroom.
Oh, so like doing some pre-reading.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Take some time to think about how the upcoming topic connects to what you've already learned. What do you already know about it? What do you think the lecture might cover?
So you're creating a mental framework for the new information.
Precisely. And then when you're in the lecture hall, taking effective notes is key. It's not just about jotting down facts and figures. Du Boulay says to pay close attention to how the lecturer evaluates the evidence.
What do you mean?
Well, it's about listening for their expert opinion, their analysis. This is stuff you might not find in the textbook.
Oh, I see. So it's like getting the insider scoop from the expert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the book even has a handy table of shorthand symbols you can use to speed up your note-taking.
Yeah.
Like using a plus sign for and or positive, an equal sign for equal to.
Oh, that's clever. So you're not writing down every single word.
Right. It's about finding a system that works for you so you can capture the essence of the lecture.
Okay, so we've prepped for the lecture, we've taken awesome notes. Now what?
Now it's time to make use of the feedback you get on your work. And this doesn't just mean looking at your grade. It means really understanding the comments and the marking system.
Yeah, because a percentage doesn't tell the whole story.
Exactly. What does a good pass actually mean in your department? What are the grade boundaries? The book also helps you decode common feedback phrases, like if a tutor says your work was superficial or you didn't provide enough evidence, you need to figure out what they're really asking you to do differently.
So you can improve next time.
Exactly. And don't wait till the last minute to get feedback. Du Boulay recommends seeking early feedback whenever you can. Talk to your tutor about your ideas. Ask if they'll look at a draft. It can save you a lot of stress in the long run.
So it's about being proactive.
Exactly. And then there are seminars, another chance for active learning. But it's not just about showing up. You need to prepare questions beforehand based on the readings, engage with the presentations, maybe even help facilitate the discussion.
Oh, and there's always that one person who dominates the conversation.
Oh yeah, the book actually gives tips on how to handle different seminar personalities, from the quiet ones to the super talkative ones.
That's helpful.
And then there are tutorials. These can be subject-specific or more general personal development sessions.
So one-on-one with your tutor.
Exactly. Du Boulay stresses the importance of coming prepared. Have specific questions ready, outline any problems you're facing, and try to build a good relationship with your tutor. Remember, it's a two-way conversation. Your active participation is key.
Makes sense.
And then we have workshops. These are presented as a great way to learn collaboratively.
Oh yeah, working together with other students.
Exactly. The book outlines a typical workshop structure: introductions, task-based activities, group feedback. There's even a secretary role to keep track of everything. Workshops can be used for all sorts of things: brainstorming essay topics, preparing for exams.
And they're a good way to practice those presentation skills.
Speaking of presentations,
Yeah.
study Skills for Dummies gives some really practical advice on how to engage your audience. Think about the seminar environment, even the layout of the room, how to ask questions that provoke thoughtful responses, and how to handle questions from the audience.
It even suggests having a few planted questions from friendly classmates just in case the audience is a bit shy at first.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Hmm.
Okay, let's move on to research skills. This is where you really dig deep and find the information you need.
This is like detective work for academics.
Right. Du Boulay starts by explaining different research methodologies. There's qualitative research, which is about understanding experiences and meanings, and quantitative research, which deals with numbers and statistics.
Okay, so two different approaches.
Exactly. She also explains longitudinal studies which follow people over a long period of time, like that famous 7-Up project. And case studies like Jamie Oliver's work on school dinners.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Then there are surveys and questionnaires. She emphasizes how important it is to make them clear and simple. The book even recommends some websites for guidance. There's observation as a research method, but she cautions about observer bias.
Ah, so your own perspective can influence what you observe.
Exactly. And then there's experimental research, action research, which is often used in education to improve things, interviews where preparing good questions is key, and even storytelling as a way to gather insights.
Wow, that's a lot of different methods.
It is. And then there are reading lists. These are like your roadmap for research. They're not just random books. They show you the key topics and where to start digging deeper.
So don't just ignore them.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And when you're faced with a mountain of reading material, you need effective reading techniques.
Yeah, otherwise you'll be reading forever.
Right. She breaks down techniques like skimming to get an overview, scanning for keywords, and knowing when you absolutely have to read every word, like when you're dealing with important definitions or analyzing arguments.
Makes sense. You can't skim everything.
Yeah. Nope. Understanding the structure of academic texts can also save you time, knowing what each section is for, like the literature review, the methodology, the analysis, the conclusion.
So you can find what you need quickly.
Exactly. And don't forget about audiovisual resources, lecture recordings, radio programs, BBC podcasts, even TV documentaries. Just remember to note down all the referencing information.
So you can properly cite your sources.
Yes. And even though we live in a digital age, print media is still important. Quality newspapers, academic journals, even unpublished research like dissertations.
Oh, yeah, those can be hidden gems.
They can. And reading groups are a great way to enhance your research. You can share resources with other students, discuss challenging texts, practice presentations.
It's like study buddies, but for research.
Exactly. And Du Boulay suggests reading past essays for your course to see how other students have structured their arguments and used sources.
Ah, so you can learn from their examples.
Yes. And when you're taking notes from books, have a clear purpose. Formulate research questions. Use a noting grid to compare information from different sources. She even gives an example of a grid for analyzing different perspectives on China's population.
Wow, she's really thought of everything.
She has. And finally, we have the internet, our researcher's best friend, but also a potential minefield.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Exactly. You need to be critical. Check the reliability of websites. Use search engines effectively. Google has some advanced features that can be helpful. And be aware of the limitations of things like online newspapers, Wikipedia, university websites.
And be wary of bias.
Yes. Always cross-check your information.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. From navigating the university environment to mastering research skills. Now let's talk about something that's essential in today's world. ICT skills.
Right. These are the tech skills you need to thrive in academia. The book starts with the basics. Hardware like choosing between a desktop and a laptop, software like word processing and presentations, and of course a reliable internet connection.
Yeah, you can't do much without that these days.
Nope. She talks about wired versus wireless connections, Wi-Fi security. And if you don't have your own computer, make use of the university's facilities.
They usually have pretty good setups.
They do. And for those who struggle with typing or prefer to speak their thoughts, she mentions voice recognition software.
Oh, that's a good option.
It is. Okay, let's tackle something that can be a bit intimidating for some people, working with numbers and figures. But the book breaks it down in a really easy-to-understand way.
I hope so, because numbers aren't exactly my strong suit.
Well, she starts with the basics, percentages, fractions, decimals. And then there's the concept of significant figures.
Remind me what that is again.
It's about not making your results seem more precise than your data actually is.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Then she explains the mean, the median, the mode. These are all ways to measure the average.
Right. But they're all different.
Yes. And she explains when to use each one. Then there's standard deviation and variance. These tell you about the spread of the data.
Okay, getting a bit more complex now.
But she explains it clearly. And then there's visualizing data, histograms, bell curves, flowcharts, technical diagrams.
Lots of visuals.
And finally, how to analyze graphs and tables.
Phew, that's a lot of number crunching.
It is. But it's all part of being a well-rounded student.
True. Okay, now let's talk about the big one. Getting your ideas down on paper. Academic writing.
This is where it all comes together. Du Boulay breaks down the standard structure of academic writing. Introduction, literature review, methodology, results, analysis, conclusion, recommendations.
So a clear roadmap for your writing.
Exactly. And then there's developing your own academic voice. Being honest, clear, relevant, grounding your arguments in evidence.
So no personal opinions or wild speculation.
Nope. It's all about being objective and supporting your claims. She also gives tips on how to pull your ideas together. Brainstorming, mind maps, working titles, research questions.
So a lot of planning before you actually start writing.
Exactly. And then there's organizing your writing, using your time wisely, making sure you include all the necessary sections, finding the right balance between background information and new insights.
Right, because you don't want to just rehash what everyone already knows.
Exactly. And then there's presenting your information effectively, choosing the right format, tables, diagrams, clear prose, and of course, mastering the writing process itself, drafting, revising, proofreading.
Attention to detail is key.
Absolutely. And then there's the nitty-gritty of style and formatting, formal versus informal writing, references, citations, footnotes.
Oh, yeah, those can be tricky.
They can. She also covers incorporating quotations, reporting verbs, hedging language, gender-neutral language, avoiding the pronoun you.
Oh, yeah, that's a big no-no in academic writing.
Yeah, it is. And then there's punctuation, apostrophes, commas, semicolons, colons, abbreviations, acronyms.
So many rules.
But they're all there for a reason, to make your writing clear and professional.
Okay, deep breath. We're almost there. Now it's time for the part that everyone loves. Exams.
Or maybe not.
Yeah.
But Du Boulay has some great tips on how to prepare and actually survive them. First, find out everything you can about the format and the marking criteria.
So you know what you're dealing with.
Exactly. Then create a realistic revision timetable. And don't forget to look after yourself during this stressful time. Get enough sleep, eat healthy, exercise, manage your stress.
Yeah, your health is important.
Absolutely. And she even talks about the economics of time during revision, like using small treats to motivate yourself, taking proper breaks to avoid burnout.
Oh, I like that. The treat system.
Right. And then there are the practical arrangements for the exam day itself. Knowing the location, the time, bringing all the right materials, and when you're actually facing the exam paper, read the instructions carefully. Plan your time.
Don't just jump in without thinking.
Nope. She also gives advice on how to answer different types of questions, essays, multiple choice, and how to deal with any unexpected issues that might come up.
Like a sudden brain freeze.
Yeah. Or a fire alarm going off. The book even covers what to do if you're not happy with your results and want to request a review.
So it really covers all the bases.
It does. And of course, No for Dummies book would be complete without the part of tens.
Those are always my favorite.
Mine too. So here are some key takeaways to enhance your student experience. Don't strive for perfection. Learn to say no to things that will eat into your study time. Tackle big tasks in manageable chunks. Plan realistically. Take proper breaks. Get involved in student life. Define your terms clearly in your writing. Avoid using those standard textbook phrases. Develop your critical thinking skills. And get feedback on your work.
Wow, that's a lot of wisdom packed into the part of tens.
It is. And it's all really good advice.
So there you have it. Study Skills for Dummies by Doreen du Boulay, a treasure trove of practical guidance for students of all levels.
We hope this deep dive here at Motivation Library has given you some valuable insights that you can start using right away.
Definitely. And if you found this helpful, please subscribe to our channel for more insightful audiobook summaries like this. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with anyone who might benefit from improving their study skills.
Remember, mastering study skills isn't just about getting good grades. It's about becoming a lifelong learner, understanding how you learn best, and gaining a deeper understanding of the world around us.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Bye for now.